begin with the main stories. Prime Minister Oli yet again resorts to distributing position of Deputy Prime Ministers to satisfy political leaders, fails to live up to his own commitment. The Royal Palace massacre still engulfed in mystery even after 17 years. Investigation experts say proper investigation could reveal a complete truth behind the incident. US faces sharp criticism from angry finance ministers of other G7 nations over America's imposition of new tariffs on steel and aluminium imports. And Austria stunned defending champion Germany 2-1 in a friendly. England registered 2-1 win. Portugal and Belgium locked in a goalless draw. Yesterday marked the 17th anniversary of the infamous Naranhiti Royal Palace massacre. The incident wiped out the entire family of late King Birendra on a single Friday evening. Along with the then King Birendra, Queen Aishwarya, Crown Prince Dipendra, Princess Shruti and Prince Nirajan among other royal family members were brutally gunned down despite tight security in the palace. It has been 17 years since the tragedy occurred, still to the shock and dismay of the public. The country witnessed many significant political transformations during this period. However, no authentic investigation has taken place into the incident that led to the massacre of the entire family of the ex-King Birendra, along with the royal palace in the heart of the capital. A high-level probe commission under the coordination of the then House Speaker Taranath Ranabhat was formed after a much public uproar. A report issued by the commission held the then Crown Prince Dipendra guilty for the killing of his entire family. However, despite the report's outcome drew a widespread distrust, no other investigation was carried out to authenticate the finding. Almost all major physical structures of the massacre site inside the palace were demolished after the incident. Nonetheless, crime investigation experts are of the view that there must be still some evidences left, including the photographs of the incident site taken by police and bullets taken out from the injured. Moreover, former Queen Komal, former Prince Paras, son-in-law of late King Birendra Kumar Gorakh Samsher, along with others are still living the eyewitnesses of the massacre. Former DIG of Police Hemanta Malla was earlier called to put light on the effects of hashish, which the then Prince Dipendra was said to have consumed it before carrying out the bloodshed. He said that it was not possible for anyone to openly speak about the incident back then. He has but stated that through thorough investigation, the massacre would not be that difficult now in the case of government wants to move it forward. There are still chances that some instances having the involvement of state himself could not be revealed. He, however, said that the continuous and deliberate concealment of the high-profile incident like the Royal Palace massacre would lead to the risk of such incidents repeating in the future as well. Besides proving its commitment towards the rule of law, an authentic investigation of the incident would help the government build an exemplary image in the international arena as well. And now we will move on to the national political updates. We have witnessed the trend of several appointments made in the position of Deputy Prime Minister during the past decade. None of the parties that came to power after establishment of republicanism was without Deputy Prime Minister. In the past decade alone, the country had as many as 28 Deputy Prime Ministers. However, none of them contributed anything significant other than exhibiting authority of the position and reaping benefits from the state coffers. Before the Constituent Assembly was dissolved in 2012, the then Baburam Bhattarai-led government had Ishwar Pokhrel as Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Ministers for 2 weeks. After 6 years, Pokhrel was shouldered the responsibility of Ministry of Defence again in the Oli-led government. As the Prime Minister was firm on not appointing any Deputy Prime Minister, Pokhrel later agreed on only the ministerial position. Now, as Sanghiya Samajwadi Forum President Upendra Yadav is to join the government as Deputy Prime Minister, Pokhrel has again been appointed in the same position. Swarna Samsher was the Deputy Prime Minister of the first elected government led by the then Prime Minister B.P. Koirala. However, after the establishment of democracy, the position of Deputy Prime Minister was rendered less reputable as the previous K.P. Sharma Oli-led government had 6 Deputy Prime Ministers. Likewise, the governments led by Pushpa Kamal Dahal, Baburam Bhattarai and Sher Bahadur Dewa each had 4 Deputy Prime Ministers. Altogether, 17 leaders got the responsibility of the position 27 times after democracy was established. A majority of them were appointed as deputy prime ministers for 2 to 5 times. The positions should have been protected when none of the parties had a majority in the government. However, at a time when the ruling party has already received the 2/3 majority, the KP Sharma Oli-led government has continued with the same trend by appointing 2 ministers in the position. Now, pressure has mounted on Rashtriya Janata Party after Sanghiya Samajwadi Forum decided to join the government. Both the parties had initially demanded constitution amendment as a condition to feature in the government. However, in the current scenario, they seem content with the agreement regarding the amendments. Despite supporting the KP Sharma Oli-led government, Forum, which previously was firm in its stance of not participating in the government without constitution amendment, has joined the government under the leadership of its president Upendra Yadav. Forum joined the government after forging an agreement with Nepal Communist Party on amendments in the constitution based on its necessity, legitimacy and significance. After Forum participated in the government last Friday, Rashtriya Janata Party now appears impatient to follow suit. The RJP is holding discussions in this regard. However, the party is yet to reach a decision. Relationship between Sanghiya Samajwadi Forum and Rashtriya Janata Party is heading south after Forum decided to join the government. Meanwhile, Forum has said that the party decided to join the government for constitution amendment and further added that the coordination with RJP would remain intact. Meanwhile, uncertainty has loomed over the politics in Province No. 2 post Forum's decision to join the government. If RJP steps back from its alliance, it is certain that a Forum-led government will be formed in Province 2 with NCP's support. While a faction from RJP itself has opined that it should join the government in coordination with Forum, the other faction is firm in its stance to fall back and break the alliance with Forum with the objective of winning popular vote in Tarai Madhesh region. And with this, we'll take a short break here. For more news, stay with us. Welcome back. The Supreme Court has been operating under an ad hoc leadership for almost 2.5 months now. Despite the Judicial Council recommended names of 3 justices for the position of Chief Justice, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has breached the constitutional provision of filling the vacant position within 1 month by not calling the Council's meeting. As per the Constitution, name for the position of Chief Justice should be recommended 1 month before the position being vacant. The then Chief Justice Gopal Parajuli was revealed from his position due to age issues, and since then Justice Deepak Raj Joshi has been appointed as the acting Chief Justice. The Judicial Council has recommended 2 other names to the Constitutional Council. However, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has remained indifferent towards the constitutional provision by not calling the meeting of Constitutional Council. The ruling faction has been attributing this to the failure of formulation of parliamentary regulation and formation of a parliamentary hearing committee. One of the former Supreme Court Justices, Kamal Narayan Das, has however said that the Constitutional Council does not have the right to not recommend names in any pretext. The Constitution provisioned a timeline after several misconducts were witnessed in the past by operating the judiciary without any leadership. Meanwhile, the legal experts have opined that the government itself breaching the constitutional norms can lead to challenges in implementation of the Constitution. After promulgation of the Constitution, Premier Oli had prioritized implementation of the Constitution, which also helped him gain majority in the government. However, as soon as reaching the leadership position, Prime Minister Oli's actions tells us a different story that would lead to a bad precedence in the national politics. And it's now time for the international update. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin has faced sharp criticism from angry finance ministers of other G7 nations over America's imposition of new tariffs on steel and aluminium imports. At a heated meeting in the Canadian resort of Whistler, the EU and Canada threatened to retaliate. French Minister Bruno Le Maire warned a trade war could begin in a few days. But U.S. President Trump has insisted on Twitter that the U.S. had been ripped off by other countries for years on trade. He says the tariffs will protect our U.S. steelmakers, which he says are vital to nation security. Trump has also complained about the barriers U.S. firms face in Europe and elsewhere. Mnuchin denied that the U.S. had abandoned leadership in the global economy and said he had passed on the other countries' strong feelings to Trump. There was no joint statement at the end of the meeting, which is a clear sign of discord. We have more news coming up, but right now we'll take yet another short break. It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Your question: what do you term the leader's race for becoming the Deputy Prime Minister? Your options are A. Greed for the designation, B. To boast authority, and C. Normal expectation. The voting for the question is on. You can type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 8080 to share your opinions with us. Now, yesterday we asked the locals in Jhapa, Makwanpur and Surkhet regarding if development projects in their districts and locality were completed on time. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
विकास निर्माणको काम अधुरै नै देखिँदैछन्। अहिले आर्थिक वर्ष अन्तिममा पुग्दाखेरि पनि अधुरो देखिरहेछ।
योजनाबद्ध ढङ्गले कामहरू भएको पाइएको छ र गुणस्तर पहिलेको तुलनामा अहिले जनप्रतिनिधिहरूले आफ्नै चाहिँ अगुवाईमा आफ्नै रेखदेखमा काम गरेका छन्। त्यसकारणले गर्दाखेरि गुणस्तर पहिलाको भन्दा राम्रो छ।
ठेकेदारको लापरवाहीले गर्दाखेरि समयमा काम रोकिन्छन्, तोकेको समयमा केही हुँदैन, त्यतिकै लथालिङ्ग रहन्छन् बाटोघाटोहरू।
कारबाही गर्नुपर्ने चाहिँ अब सरकारले जान्नुपर्ने कुरो हो। अहिले हामीहरूले कारबाहीको कुरो चलाउन सकिँदैन।
वडा अध्यक्ष अनि जो कर्मचारीहरू छन् तिनीहरूले यताउता ध्यान नदिएको कारणले
विकास निर्माणका कार्यहरू जति जनताले अपेक्षा गरेका छन् त्यस अनुसार हुन सकेको चाहिँ छैन।
राम्रै भएको छ, त्यहाँ चाहिँ धेरै राम्रो भएको छ, एकदम क्वालिटी छ।
It's now time for the sports news.
Sports news.
Defending champions Germany suffered a 2-1 loss against Austria in a friendly match played last night. Mesut Ozil gave the Germany an early lead, scoring in the 11th minute of the match. Germans led the first half with a solitary goal, but Austria made a strong comeback in the second half. Martin Hinteregger equalized in the 53rd minute for Austria. Another goal in the 69th minute by Alexandro Skov ensured a win for Austria over Germany after 32 years. The German coach Joachim Löw had rested Thomas Müller, Mats Hummels and Toni Kroos, but the match had seen a return of German captain and custodian Manuel Neuer. The German keeper had been out of the field with a broken leg since last September. Meanwhile, in another friendly, England registered a 2-1 win over Nigeria. Gary Cahill and Harry Kane were the goal scorers for England, while Alex Iwobi found the net for Nigeria. England, prior to their departure for Russia, will feature in one more friendly against Costa Rica. In another high-profile encounter, Belgium and Portugal were locked in a goalless draw. World number 1 Rafael Nadal has progressed to the 4th round of French Open tennis. Nadal continued his dominance over his longtime tennis friend Richard Gasquet in the 3rd round of French Open. The Spaniard defeated Gasquet in straight sets 6-3, 6-2, 6-2. Nadal, who is celebrating his 32nd birthday today, has won all 16 matches played against his friend Gasquet. He will next play Germany's Maximilian Marteria in the next round. Nadal is gunning for his 11th French Open title. Meanwhile, world number 3 Marin Cilic, Juan Martin del Porto, John Isner and Kevin Anderson have also booked their spot in the final 16. In the women's quarter, Russian Maria Sarapova saw off Czech Karolina Pliskova to set up a pre-quarter-final tie against Serena Williams. Serena is playing her first tournament after giving birth to a daughter. Time now for Russia World Cup news. Brazil, one of the strong contenders for winning the Russia World Cup, have started their last round of training in Anfield. 5-time champions Brazil is playing a friendly against Croatia in Anfield tonight. This will be followed by another match against Austria in Vienna on 10th of June. Brazil will proceed to Russia World Cup from Vienna. Meanwhile, Brazil's star striker Neymar is expected to return to playing field in the match against Croatia tonight. Neymar was injured playing for PSG last February. Brazil is grouped alongside Switzerland, Costa Rica and Serbia. Brazil this time around is looking to erase the painful memories of 7-1 semi-final loss against Germany in the last edition of the game played in front of their home fans. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Prime Minister Oli yet again resorts to distributing position of Deputy Prime Minister to satisfy political leaders, fails to live up to his own commitment. The Royal Palace massacre still engulfed in mystery even after 17 years. Investigation experts say proper investigation could reveal a complete truth behind the incident. US faces sharp criticism from angry finance ministers of other G7 nations over America's imposition of new tariffs on steel and aluminium imports. And Austria stunned defending champion Germany 2-1 in a friendly. England registered 2-1 win. Portugal and Belgium locked a goalless draw. That's all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will air at 11 a.m. Keep watching Kantipur TV HD for more news and entertainment. Have a good day.